If there is a 10, 11, or 22 in your date of birth, you are not a regular person. These numbers describe people with unusual potential, unusual sensitivity, or unusual scale. Let's break down what that actually means in practical, real-life terms. Every birth date is unique, but some numerical patterns stand out as truly exceptional. When we see 10, 11, or 22 in a date of birth, we are looking at what I call higher-order numbers. They go beyond basic personality traits and point to a different level of consciousness, potential, and responsibility. These numbers can appear in different positions of your chart. It might be your day of birth, like the 10th, 11th, or 22nd. It might be your month, for example, November as the 11th month. It might be your year of birth, when all digits add up to 10, 11, or 22. It can also be your life path number, when the full date reduces to one of these values. Let's start with 10. In numerology, 10 is often simplified to 1. But in practice, 10 is not the same as 1. 10 is 1 plus 0, a focused, individual drive amplified by a field of potential. 1 is action, initiative, I move forward. 0 magnifies and stretches that energy beyond the personal level. A good metaphor is a chessboard. Number 1 is like a pawn at the beginning of the game. It can move, it has potential, but its power is limited. Number 10 is a pawn that has crossed the entire board and become a queen. Same origin, but a completely different level of influence and responsibility. If you have 10 in your date of birth or as your life path, you are wired for victory and progress. You are not here to live a static life. You will feel inner restlessness if you stay too small for too long. Life will keep pushing you to grow, to take on more, to step into roles where your decisions matter. This can manifest as constant movement, changing careers, starting projects, leading initiatives, or reinventing yourself. The challenge with 10 is that you can still feel like a pawn while already having the capacity of a queen. You might underestimate yourself, play small, or allow others to sacrifice you in their game. Your turning point is the moment you consciously decide, I am not a disposable piece. I am here to operate at a higher level. Now, let's talk about 11. Many systems simply treat 11 as 2 ones. From that perspective, people say, I have many ones in my chart because I was born on the 11th. In my approach, 11 is not a pair of ones. It is a completely different state of consciousness. Number 1 is outward movement. It is about taking action in the external world. Number 11 is inward depth. It is a rich inner world, strong sensitivity, and a continuous connection to subtle information. People with 11 in their date of birth often feel that they hear, or sense, more than others. They can pick up on the emotional atmosphere of a room immediately. They may experience very fine hearing, sometimes even an absolute or near absolute sense of pitch. Loud sounds, raised voices, or harsh tones can feel physically painful. As children, many 11s want to hide when adults start shouting. They close their ears, retreat into their own space, or freeze. Over time, they may develop a partial shutdown response to protect themselves from too much noise or emotional intensity. This can show up as selective hearing or difficulty processing certain types of verbal information. At the same time, 11 is often linked to a high level of creativity, music, art, and spiritual perception. These people can be composers, conductors, performers, writers, or anyone who works with sound, vibration, and subtle emotional tones. They operate like antennas, picking up signals that others miss. There is a modern term that fits many 11s, star souls or starseeds. Whether you take this literally or metaphorically, the experience is similar. You feel different, a bit not from here, like a white crow in a world of gray birds. You may sense that your values, sensitivities, and inner world do not match the environment you grew up in. If you recognize yourself in this description, it is important to understand 2 things. First, there is nothing wrong with you. Your sensitivity is not a flaw, it is a tool. Second, you need environments, relationships, and work that respect your sensitivity instead of constantly attacking it. Now, let's look at 22. 22 is not 2 plus 2 in the usual sense. It is not just extra emotional or extra relational. 22 is what I call the architect of scale. It belongs to people who are designed to think and build big. If 22 appears in your date of birth, you are capable of creating large systems, structures, or projects. This can be in business, art, social impact, technology, education, or any field that requires vision plus execution. You might be drawn to building companies, designing complex systems, creating large artistic projects, or organizing big communities. From the outside, people often look at what 22s create and say, I don't even understand how this fits in one human mind. That is exactly the point. Your inner architecture is built for complexity and magnitude. You can hold big ideas, long timelines, and multi-step strategies in your head. The main obstacle for 22 is usually not the external world. It is self-doubt and self-sabotage. You may feel your own scale, and that can be intimidating. So you unconsciously downgrade your plans, surround yourself with people who do not believe in your capacity, or create delays and crises that hold you back. If you have 22 in your date of birth or life path, your key decision is to say yes to your own magnitude. Yes, I am built for something larger than average. Yes, this level of responsibility can be scary, but it is aligned with who I am. When you do not live up to your own scale, life often responds with repeating problems, financial issues, manipulations, feeling stuck in situations that are too small for you. From a higher perspective, 10, 11, and 22 all belong to what I call upper levels of the human energy system. If we imagine the human structure as 9 basic levels or centers, these numbers sit above that grid. 10 is the higher order leader, the mature achiever. 11 is the higher order intuitive, the sound sensitive, spiritually tuned person. 22 is the higher order architect, the large-scale builder. If any of these numbers appear in your chart, your task is not to become better than others. Your task is to become more responsible with what you have been given, to recognize your specific sensitivity, power, or scale, and to learn how to use it consciously. If you see 10, 11, or 22 in your date of birth, you are not here to live on autopilot. 10 asks you to grow from a pawn into a full power player, someone who uses their drive to create real impact. 11 asks you to honor your sensitivity and inner world and to treat it as a strength, not a defect. 22 asks you to accept your capacity for large-scale creation and to stop shrinking your vision to fit other people's comfort. Take a moment to look at your date of birth and notice where these numbers show up. Then ask yourself 3 questions. What am I underestimating in myself? Where am I still playing too small? And what would it look like if I started living at the level my numbers describe?